What is up, guys? Randomonium here. We continuing with our TSM versus Cloud9 analysis with our Art of the Draft series. If you haven't seen the analysis for Game 1 or Game 2, I highly recommend you check that out. And if you don't want the results spoiled for Game 3, I will be spoiling the results in this video. So if you haven't watched that game yet, please go watch it and then come back and finish this video. This series is all about looking at the pick ban phase and kind of analyzing team compositions, analyzing win conditions, and kind of dissecting all the picks that the pros make and talking about where they could have done better or what were the key mistakes in the drafting phase. If you don't fully understand how I divide different team compositions or how I define win conditions or which team compositions are strong against which other team compositions, that's all within my team compositions video that you guys can check out on my channel. I will be using my team composition tool. That tool has not been released to the public yet. Right now, I don't think it's ready. Personally, I am able to predict about 70% of professional games accurately, but I think I can get that number higher. And currently, I don't think it's fully optimized. This is about 100 megabytes. In an Excel file, so it's not exactly a small file that I could share with people, and I think I have some ways that I could make it more efficient and more streamlined in the future. So hopefully long-term solution, we'll try and turn it into an app or a website that you guys can utilize. But let's break it down. Let's go right into the pick ban phase for Game 3. So we can see that TSM has banned out the Kindred, Tarek, Kennen, and Cloud9 has banned out Irelia, Lissandra, Silas. Silas has been a very common red side ban this series. It looks like Cloud9 is banning out the Irelia and Lissandra. They like to ban out these champions because they're both good for B. Erickson or Broken Blade. These champions have a lot of outplay potential, let me say. The other ban that they were typically banning a lot was the Akali. Because those champions, it's very hard to kind of lock them down and kill them, and it seems like Cloud9 really favors that. On the TSM side, they go for Kindred, which is definitely a Cloud9 focused ban. Cloud9 is known for going for the Kindred Zilean combo, things like that. They ban out the Tarek because they want to avoid the Tarek Sona bot lane that Cloud9 tried in Game 1, and they ban out the Kennen. I assume this ban is so that they can go for the Jace top lane, since Kennen seems to be a pretty good pick into the Jace top lane, and that's what they do. They lock in the Jace top lane. So NA Jace making its appearance for Broken Blade. I don't know if it's NA Jace or it would be Turkey Jace. We'll see which one is better. But Cloud9 responds with the Jarvan. And it looks like they are hovering between the Akali and the Tahm Kench, and they wind up going for the Tahm Kench. So let's look at my tool right now and see what happens. So if I pull this over, so here's the tool. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. So we can see that TSM picked up the Jace, who's primarily good in sieging and split pushing. And Cloud9 picked up the Jarvan and the Tahm Kench, which makes them have primarily an attack composition with secondary being catch. That means that they are very strong against siege and splits. You can see that right now Cloud9 has an 89% chance to win, and we'll see how that win percentage fluctuates back and forth as we continue through the draft. So continuing on, so we know that TSM was initially showing a siege or split composition, and they wind up going for the Gragas and the Akali. So if I bring over this team composition tool and we grab the Gragas for jungle and we grab the Akali for mid lane, we'll see how the win percentages change. So now you can see that the TSM with those two picks has turned the draft around, and now instead of being more of a siege and split push composition, they are now favoring towards a catch composition, which is favored against the attack composition of Cloud9. So now TSM has a 75% chance to win. Cloud9 only has a 25% chance to win. So you can see how these picks actually do a really good job countering each other, and you can see how good these coaches are at on the fly very quickly picking the right picks for their teams to excel. So far, I think this is a very, very good draft phase by both coaches. So Cloud9 has the option for a potential counter pick in mid lane or in top lane. They go for the counter pick in top lane with the Gangplank. And what we'll see is if I put the Gangplank in here, it shouldn't change how things are too much. It actually makes it worse for them. So they still are primarily an attack composition, but it made their protect a bit stronger. So yeah, so right now this is definitely a TSM favored draft. So we'll see what happens with the next part of the ban phase. So right now, TSM is favoring catch. Cloud9 is favoring attack. So what Cloud9 wants to do is they want to go either towards a protect composition or a sieging composition. So it seems like it'd be much easier for them to go towards a protect composition. But so if they decide to go towards a protect composition, then TSM would want to go towards either a sieging composition or a split composition to counter the protect composition. We'll see what they do with their picks and bans. So if Cloud9 wants to go towards a they could go towards also a sieging composition, but protect would probably be easier for Cloud9 to go towards. They ban out the Galio, who's a strong support pick, so it looks like they're trying to target ban Smoothie. TSM takes away the Zoe, which means that the sieging opportunity, the ability for Cloud9 to go towards a siege comp is severely reduced, since Zoe is one of the best sieging mid laners that's in the meta right now. And Cloud9 goes for the Braum, so another support pick targeting a Smoothie. Definitely think that those are two good bans. But right now, TSM is definitely in the driver's seat when it comes to the pick ban phase. They ban out the Rise, who's a split pusher. I don't think that necessarily was an amazing ban because TSM is already showing a strong catch composition. And if they decide to go for the Rise, then that's actually good for TSM since catch compositions are usually good against split push compositions. So continue on, they wind up locking in the Zilean, and this is actually a perfect pick, and I'll show you why it's such a perfect pick. So if I bring this back over again, and I take the Zilean here, and I put Zilean in mid lane, watch what happens. Boom. Now it goes from 11% in Cloud9's favor to 88% in Cloud9's favor. And they go from having an attack composition to having a protect composition. So this is definitely a great call from the Cloud9 coaching staff to go towards more of a supportive protect style mid laner. And now TSM is really on the back foot. They have to pivot away from this catch composition. So the two ways that they could pivot is that they could go more towards a split composition or they could go towards a sieging composition. So we'll see how they decide to transition. So they hover the Ezreal, which would be a good pick, and then they switch it up to the Alistar. And then with their final pick, I already know that they're going to lock in the Ezreal, which is actually a very smart move on their play. So yep, they lock in the Ezreal. So let's look at these two picks and how they help. So they lock in the Alistar, which is one of the last good melee supports that are available. That takes it to a makes it more of an attack composition instead of a catch composition. The win percentage is still pretty good for Cloud9, and then they put in the Ezreal, It's much more focused on a siege composition, and boom, you can see how the win rate shifts. So now TSM has primarily a sieging composition with the Ezreal, Jace, and Gragas, and then they have the Akali, who's basically on cleanup duty, and the Alistar is there to peel to prevent any type of hard engage if Cloud9 wanted to go more towards an attack composition. The problem is that Cloud9 has kind of backed themselves into a corner because all they have left is their bot laner, and there aren't that many bot laners that are super strong in attack that would sway this team composition so strongly to the attack side. So at this point, TSM has actually outmaneuvered Cloud9, and we'll see what happens with the final pick. So Cloud9 goes for the Jinx as their final pick. This will still maintain it being a protect composition into a siege composition, which is difficult to execute. Siege compositions definitely have the advantage over protect compositions, but they kind of back themselves into this corner a little bit. There wasn't that much better that I think Cloud9 could have done in the draft. I definitely could have, if they had gone for the Jinx pick first and saved the Zilean pick, then that might have swayed things a little bit differently, right? Because TSM was showing a catch composition, and if they showed the Jinx, then there's a chance that TSM would have continued trying to go for a catch composition, and then Cloud9 could have locked in the Zilean with the last pick, and that would have caused them to basically be at a disadvantage because protect compositions are at an advantage against catch compositions. But because they showed their hand a little bit too early with the Zilean pick, that showed that they were definitely going towards a protect composition, and TSM made the right changes that they needed to shift from a catch composition to a sieging composition with the Ezreal and the Alistar picks. So TSM definitely won the draft, but you could see how back and forth the draft was. It wasn't a very clear-cut thing. You could see that, you know, Cloud9 had the advantage, TSM had the advantage, Cloud9 had the advantage, TSM had the advantage. These coaches definitely knew what they were doing in this pick ban phase, and I think a lot of that gets lost to the casual observer. So I hope that this really helped you guys understand how important pick ban phase is, and how what type of a battle is going on during champion select. A lot of people like try to breeze through this champion select, but it's super important. It sets the tone for the entire game. And if we'll just fast forward so you can see what happened. You can see the TSM, they were down 2-0. They were back up against the wall, and they wind up having a huge pop-off game. Bjergsen actually just freaking hard carries his team in this condition, and they wind up winning pretty easily. Well, I won't say easily. It was a hard-fought match, but with Bjergsen carrying them, they were able to go on to victory, and this is kind of the turning point of the series. So if Cloud9 had done their draft phase maybe a little bit better, then maybe they would have 3-0'd TSM rather than TSM getting some hope that they could come back with the rest of the series. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be continuing with Game 4 and Game 5, but I always appreciate your guys' comments. I always like seeing that you guys are enjoying the videos, so please leave comments. You know, please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and obviously if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I am trying to do more daily content to try and be more consistent and give you guys some high quality videos at least multiple times a week. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day. This is Randomonium signing off.